You're listening to What's Your Heart Problem podcast, the show that brings you healthy advice and perspectives on your heart relationships with your host, Dr. Holder. She has 20 plus years in the field of helping others as a dedicated therapist. She is a coach, speaker, a loving mother, and wife. Dr. Holder is here to help you get to the heart of the matter. Now, without any further ado, please welcome your host, Dr. Holder.
Hello, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good on twilight. Wherever you are, time, space, wherever you are, I thank you for listening to What's Your Heart Problem podcast with me, your host, Dr. Holder. Today, I wanted to jump right on into talking about fear and when it makes you make rushed and horrible decisions. Want to talk about fear and how, you don't have to make these decisions. There's ways to overcome that before getting yourself in a worse situation. So before I start, I wanted to define what fear actually is. So let me get to my handy dandy computer and to define, I Googled fear just to have a good definition of it. And fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. So fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. What I wanted to focus on is the word threat, because a lot of times people make decisions based on a threat of fear, not necessarily that thing actually happening. Now, it's the assumption that that thing's going to happen, and people make the decisions to just make sure that it doesn't happen. And sometimes in doing that, they make their situation worse and more miserable. And so today, I just wanted to break that irrational thought process that if you do this or do that, it's going to block or stop something bad from happening when you didn't even have to do that in the first place, if it was probably thought through, or really if you were able to be just calm about the situation instead of having a rushed decision or moment. The first thing I wanted to say is anytime you feel rushed, pressured, feeling all over the place, unsettled, not sure, uncertain, there's not a sense of peace or calm about whether or not you should make a decision, my biggest recommendation is that you do not make that decision. There's this quote, and I love it. It's called practice the pause. I had to do it this morning because, I was taking, my kids to school, and I was trying to figure out, what I have to do with different things. And I'm just all in my head, just thinking about, steps of this, steps of that. And I just started feeling like unsettled and started feeling like, what am I doing? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Should I be making those decisions? Because it happens, when you're a mom and you're, working and, you have a family and you're doing all the things, right? You're doing all the things. And so when you are doing those things, you have those moments of like, you're en route to doing something, you're en route to doing something else. And as you are en route to doing these things, these thoughts come in. Should I, could I, shouldn't I, would I, all of this. And when you're in that mode, you in yourself feel unsettled. Your thoughts are flying all over the place in your mind. And so your heart becomes unsettled. And whatever is unchecked in your mind, whatever is you're dealing with in your mind, it comes through in your physical responses to things. And so one big thing that you want to ensure that you're doing is practicing the pause. Because when you practice the pause, you're practicing staying in the present. You guys know what anxiety is, right? Fear is anxiety. Anxiety is a bigger word, we use that now, but honestly, the base of it all is fear. What are you fearing? What decisions are you making because of fear that is stopping you from living your best life, from living your life of freedom and joy? You address that, a lot of things will go smoother in your life. So, in practicing the pause when it comes to fear, will help you to slow down and not make rash and rush decisions that will mess you up later. So, as I was saying, so this morning I'm like, and then I got back home, was able to just sit down for a second and really check in, because I do that a lot. Because for me, I practice what I preach in regards to when I tell clients doing something. So my biggest thing with my clients is checking in, what's going on, why is your body feeling the way it is, why is your, and not just my clients, for myself, it's really big for me because I love feeling calm. I love feeling peace. I love feeling settled and feeling like things are going in order, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but when things are going smoothly, you just feel a little bit better about the management of your life and your emotions and all of the things. And so one thing with me is so this morning I sat down and I practiced the pause, and I really listened to what was going on for me and what was the biggest thing that was throwing me for a loop. And what I realized was that I wasn't being as thankful for things that actually were happening that were good. I was focusing on, okay, I have to do this, and I wasn't really appreciating what I had accomplished so far, which was a lot. And when I got that realization, I realized that the future things that I have to do, and it's gonna come. It's all gonna come. You've been doing the seeds. You've been planting the seeds in the various situations you need to do, and you will see the growth of it. But you cannot be thinking this, right? Because fear, anxiety, frustration, all the emotions, they come when you're either thinking in the past or thinking in the future. Problem is, you're not thinking in the present. So when you're not thinking in the present, your thoughts can be all over the place. So my thing to you today is practice the pause, especially when you have to make a big decision, especially when things are coming at you, especially when you feel peer pressured, especially when you're feeling like you can't think about something. Someone wants an answer from you now. You practice the pause. The problem is going to be there. The issue is still going to be there. The person might still be there. The situation is going to be there. Where you're running to so fast that you can't practice 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to, I'll call you back. Can we push the meeting 10 minutes out? Can we practice the option of calmness and peace before anything? When you do that, again, the biggest thing in having a freedom of joy and happiness in your life is the management and control of yourself. And yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your physical actions, what you say, your actions, what you say. When you manage that well and in a healthy fashion, you're able to practice boundaries. There are certain lines people cannot cross. There are certain things that just cannot happen when you are in control of you. How does fear fit into all of that? Management of your emotions. What is the fear that is messing with you right now? What is causing you such what's costing your joy right now? What are you scared of? What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of that? What's gonna happen if that happens? What's gonna happen to you, to your family, to whatever the situation is? What's gonna happen if that happens? Face that fear mentally. Face that fear. Go through the steps. Go through what'll happen if that happens. Like if your worst fear happens, what can you do about it? That is how you break the fear. That is how you break down the fear. Where it would suck if whatever that fear has happened, but I am not going to make a decision if I'm not comfortable with it. If I am grieving or will grieve about it if I do it. If it's going to make me utterly unhappy. So you have to take into consideration yourself, what's going on for you. And when you're able to do that, you're able to manage your emotions. Threats will come into our lives. Fearful circumstances and situations will come into our lives. But if you're able to manage those things where you're like, okay, this is my plan A. And if my plan A didn't work out, well, what's the plan B looking like? And what I mean by that is, if this fear happens, I don't want it to happen. It would cost me this. It would cost me. If this happens though, what can I do to make it whereby I can survive this fear? That's it. That is how you manage and you control this fear. Because I believe that your fear is costing you things. It's costing you your mental health. It's costing you your physical health. It's costing you things. And you're doing things to try to ignore it, try to avoid it. So whether, I don't know, sometimes people, they drink alcohol, or they use drugs, or they handle their fear by, not handling it. And they're thinking, with me avoiding it, I'm just gonna it's gonna just go away. And it doesn't do that, especially as you get older in life. You have to face your fear. You have to face what is bothering you, what is messing with you, what is going on. And you have to check, why is this a fear of mine? And if this fear happens, can I handle it? How can I handle it? So if it happens, I wouldn't want to do this, but for my survival, this is what I probably have to do. And when you have that management of what that potential fear can happen and you have a potential plan, it does help you feel more manageable about what you do. And you don't feel the rush to make decisions that are super important to your life and maybe to your family's life. You focus on, okay, how can this work for me in a way that it doesn't impact me so negatively like it's doing right now? Today's pod, like I said, is about fear and not making horrid choices and horrid decisions based on fear. It's about focusing on, if this does happen, I will not allow fear to mess with me because I have made the choice to manage my emotions in a way where I will not be impacted if this something happens or that something happens. It's super important that we know that we have more power than we think. Believe that. Believe that. You can only control yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your emotions. You can control you. Be the change that you want to see. And I know that's probably cliche, but really, like, you are more powerful than you think. So if you're doing something more positive within your community, within yourself, within your family, will show, well, what are you doing? Oh, that seems interesting. And someone else jumps on board and does the same thing, whatever that is, that's a win. Don't focus so much on what's happening outside of you. Focus on what's going on with you. And if you can change within and see that change to go outside and see that change externally, good for you. But make sure that you're not allowing fear to corner you and make you feel bad about what you have to do. Face fear and say, yeah, you're there, but I got something for you, and I'm not going to allow you to force me into a corner anymore. I'm not going to allow you to make me feel like I cannot do. I can do. I can win. I can be victorious. And so I just wanted to let you guys, my listeners, just remember that you have more power than you think, and that fear, you can conquer fear. You can conquer fear. So this is Dr. Holder on fear, and just wanting you to live your best and happiest life, because you have more power than you think. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of What's Your Heart Problem podcast. If you're enjoying the show or found value in what you've heard today, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for listening, and we hope you'll join us again next time in the next episode of What's Your Heart Problem podcast. See you then.